Your last statement pretty much touched different parts of the 5 sections of my paper.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had who is God, God in creation, God in image, God, good and evil, and religion. And it was like something each part touched, and I was like, oh wait, I can't jump back and forth. I'll go to.
And, you know, and that was, I'm going to tell you something, Khrishana. One of the things that really had me puzzled growing up was, why was Jesus so important? You know, why are we talking about Jesus so much? I mean, God's the one that's, God the Father is the one who has the power. Why is Jesus so important? And what I came to realize, I was doing a Bible study with one of our church members, and we kind of got deep, and I went back and started studying this thing. And what it is that Christ is the creator. Christ is the creator. It was Christ who created this world. He's the only one qualified to be the mediator for this world. He is the creative force behind the Godhead. And was understood that it was Christ who was there in the Old Testament dealing with Israel. You know, dealing with creation, the flood, all that stuff. That it was Christ, you know, in his pre-incarnate form. And then Christ, when he came in the New Testament, that's when we began to really understand that Christ, my voice is hoarse, that Christ is the centerpiece of the Scriptures. Christ is the centerpiece for the plan of salvation. And it's through Christ that we have our salvation. And so when we talk about the Godhead, you know, a lot of people try to put Christ on a pedestal. Sometimes they will put Christ on a pedestal to the exclusion of the other two. The other two are part of salvation as well. Because it is God the Father who takes that role of judge and saying, I'm giving judgment to the Son because he has died, because he has given the ultimate sacrifice. That thing was something that was real heavy for me, because growing up in the church, I didn't understand what was the big deal about Christ when I read the Old Testament. It's God the Father. You know, he's a man. And I think that's how the Jews are. And that's why they really can't come to the realization of how God became man, and that this figure who was walking around in Palestine, that he is actually the one who did the creation. I don't know. That was just something when you were talking that I think it's really important for us to understand, because we take it for granted that, you know, Jesus he's a savior. Okay, understands Jesus is a savior. He didn't have any sin. But I also know Enoch and Elijah, you know, they didn't die. Especially with Enoch, you know, it sounded like he was real close to God, so much that he walked with God and he was not. He was translated. So I'm like, well, why couldn't Enoch die for us? Well, it's because Enoch didn't create us. Enoch didn't have the right to be able to say, I'm going to extinguish life or I'm going to save.